Hello and welcome to my April wrap-up. I think it's been a long time since I've done a wrap-up, mostly because I don't read many books in a month, and this month I read 5, which is a lot for me. I read some from my TBR, some not from my TBR. If you want to know my TBR and the prompts that brought me to what I was supposed to read, I have a video for that. But other than that, my TBR will be spoiled in this video, so. I think I rolled for 6 in that video, and I read 5 books this month, but not all of them were from my TBR, but we'll go over that. First, I'm just going to talk about, I have my little notes. I'm just going to talk about the books I read, what I rated them, and then we'll get into the TBR. So, April felt super long. For some reason, I felt like I read this months ago, but I read it at the beginning of April. Expiration Dates by Rebecca Searle. I have it, actually. I had 2 copies because I just couldn't wait for it to come from Aardvark Book Club, which is not sponsored, but I do love them. I had another copy that I bought from Barnes & Noble, the Barnes & Noble exclusive. I ended up giving that away on my Bookstagram, which you can follow. That was my first ever giveaway. Maybe I'll do more in the future. Stay tuned for that. So, Expiration Dates by Rebecca Searle. If you don't know, Rebecca Searle is one of my favorite authors of all times. I just love the way she writes. I love the stories she comes up with and like the emotional journeys within the story. And like she'll come up with these crazy like magical realism plots, but I don't know, they're never what you expect. I have, I think, 1 5-star read by her, and then the rest are like honorary 5 stars, like 4 point somethings. This one was a 4.25. I really liked it, but I don't know. I think also the experience kind of wasn't ruined, but like was kind of like altered because I read it on vacation. You can see that in my my reading vlog, my beach reading vlog. And so I was like around people, so normally I read completely alone. So I don't know if the experience was altered in that way and I didn't get to like get in my head as much about it. I don't know, but it was a 4.25. That's still a super good rating. And her books, no matter what I rate her books, they always just have like a special place. Like this still, even as a 4.25, has a more special place in my heart than some like 4.5s. You know what I mean? It was very, very cute. If you haven't read any Rebecca Searle books, I highly recommend them. They're always very sad. I didn't cry, surprisingly. That's another thing that I think being around people affected me, is it doesn't take much to make me cry in a book, and I definitely could have cried, but like I didn't. So I don't know. But anyway, that was my first book I finished of the month. And then next, another auto-buy author for me. Will read everything she writes. Jennifer Hartman came out with Older, and I read that. It's an age gap romance, which I love. I'm down for an age gap. It is legal. It's legal, okay? It's legal, but it toes the line. All Jennifer Hartman books toe the line, if you're familiar with her. But when I read authors like Rebecca Searle or Jennifer Hartman, where I've read a bunch of their books and like really loved one or a few of their books, I try not to play the comparison game, but with Older, if I'm comparing it to her other books, I would say it's like a 3.75. And if I'm just like going in clean or like trying to go in as clean as I can, I'd give it a 4. Either way, round up to a 4. It was very cute, and all of her romances had that like darker side and like the like, not like traumatic, but like a traumatic side to the relationship, and very slow burn, and things don't work out perfectly for these people. But it was good. It wasn't the best like darker romance I've read. It wasn't the best age gap I've read. It wasn't the best Jennifer Hartman I've read, but it was still worth the read and good book. And I read that on Kindle Unlimited. I want to say it's on Kindle Unlimited. Next, I read, this was a really good reading month, by the way. I don't think anything, if we count Older as a 3.75, nothing was under that. Nothing was under a 4 besides that, if we count it as that. But this next one was my 1 true 5 stars of the month, and it was Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. Now, this is my first Abby Jimenez book. Way back, I wish I had documentation of this, but I said that Abby Jimenez was going to be the new It Girl before ever reading any of her books. And this is the first one I've read since saying that. And look at her, she's the new it girl, and I completely see the hype. I totally see why. Now, this is the only book I've read of hers, so I hope I don't speak too soon, but this was so good. It was so rom-com-y and light and fluffy and summery, but then had like the deep emotional rip your heart out and stomp on it kind of emotional journeys that the two main characters, both of them, are going through it. And they weren't just like, she didn't just put them through these traumatic things just to do it and just to say there's something else going on in the book. Like, they really just made sense. Like, the characters were super flushed out. I don't know, I just really like them. The banter is like Emily Henry level. I legitimately have a crush on Justin. It's bad. The air has come back on. It's hot, and we're just all gonna have to deal with it. I'm obsessed with Emma too, but Justin is just like, I don't know. He's fantastic. I thought this was really well done. I think there are a few ways you could have gone about this plot, and I think it was really well done. These two meet over this like Reddit post, which I know it sounds like it could go in a very wrong direction, but again, she did it very well. And they meet, and they decide to meet up for the summer, and of course they catch feelings and want to meet up for longer. There's a lot more to it, but yeah, so good. I think this helped to contribute to me reading a lot of books this month, because, which I read 2 before this, but after I finished this, I was on a high. I was like, I love to read. Books are amazing. I need to read more. So yeah, and this was, Expiration Dates was one of my ones that was actually on my TBR. This was one of the ones that was actually on the TBR, like from my video. Older was not. I forgot it was coming out. It came out. It was on Kindle Unlimited, so I read it. Next is actually an audiobook, which is weird for me, but I also rolled for it in my TBR video. I listened to it in my beach reading vlog on my way to the beach and home. I listened to it, but I finally finished it, and I gave it a 4 stars, which for me, an audiobook being 4 stars, like, that might as well be 5, because I don't really like audiobooks. But I think that this book, outside, like, if I didn't read the audiobook and I just read the physical copy, I don't think it would have been as high. The girl who wrote this book, she's a comedian. She does like her own solo shows and stuff, and the book, The Ex-Boyfriend Yard Sale, was actually a play originally, and she toured that, and then she got a book deal for it, and then told like the whole background and everything. It was really, really good. Lots of math, but like, you don't need to know. If you do know what she's talking about, great, but you don't need to know what she's talking about to understand the book. It very much gave me the vibes of Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton, so if you like that, maybe try this book. Her acting, so she's also a voice actor, and so her like voice acting abilities, and her ability to read the book, narrate the book, but it's also like her story. I don't know, it felt like I was just sitting there listening, like we were just having a conversation. She was just telling me her whole life story. It was almost like a podcast. I would highly recommend it, even if you don't like audiobooks like me, but especially if you do. And yeah, 4 stars. This was just the month of my auto-buy authors coming out with stuff. Emily Henry also came out with Funny Story, which I will be reading in the month of May. Sarah Hogle came out with Old Flames and New Fortunes. So You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hogle is not only a 5-star read for me, but it's like a 6-star, and it's one of my favorite books of all time. It's a comfort read for me. I love it so much. And then her Christmas book, Just Like Magic, I rated, I want to say 4.75, and then I read Twice Shy in March maybe, and that was a 5-star read. And then now she came out with Old Flames and New Fortunes. This was a 4.5. I don't know why it wasn't a 5, because I really liked it. The main girl owns like a witch witchy shop with her sisters, and they all have like their little niches, and she does flower fortunes, as she calls them, and she can like put together flowers based on their meanings and like based on what someone like needs out of them. I don't know, it's a very interesting concept. But this is I guess you'd call it second chance. It's a second chance romance. There's also some fake dating, but not fake dating with the main love interest. It's very funny. Sarah Hogle is a very like, I always say her books are not for everyone, because you have to take it for what it is and you have to take its quirkiness in stride. If you're not expecting her writing style or her sense of humor, you're gonna be like, what is going on? But I absolutely love it. The banter in this was really, really good. She's always done good banter, but I don't know, this was just up a level to where I was like, oh yeah, yep, this is gonna be good. Just very cute, nice vibes. There's a third act conflict that kind of changes the entire tone of the book, but it's not a third act breakup. So I think maybe that deterred me a little bit, but it's not like I didn't dislike it. It just like jarred me and just kind of changed the direction of the book, but it made a lot of sense. It wasn't like unnecessary, or I wasn't like questioning why that happened. Very, very sweet. Again, I don't want to compare it to her other books, but I think just even standing alone, I would give it a 4.5. That is all the books that I read this month. So as far as my 3 other books that were in my TBR video, I started this month to read Cherish. It's the last book in the Crave series. I've read the entire series and I'm on to Cherish. And okay, so when I first bought this book last year, I read the first 10 pages, I guess, because I had my bookmark in it. And so I reread the 10 pages because I had forgotten what happened. And I read 11 pages. That's where the chapter ended. I stopped there and I was like, I can't do this right now. I don't want to like completely trash on it, because I am going to end up reading the book, and I really like the Crave series, but the last book, Charm, was a very highly anticipated read for me, just in general and in the series. Like everything leads up to this point, and it's a very exciting like backstory we get, and it wasn't a letdown, but it was like, it wasn't what I expected. It went in a very different direction, but it was still really good. I think I rated it like, it was at least 4 stars, if not like 4.25, 4.75, or 4.5. But she's like taken that direction. She's still going in that direction. I don't mean this as an insult, because I love fan fiction. I have written fan fiction. I was a fan fiction girl back in the day. And I think fan fiction can be just as good as like traditionally published stuff. But that being said, this feels like it feels like she's having someone else write for her. Like it feels like someone is writing a Crave series fan fiction. Like the things that are happening, I don't know. Just in the beginning, like everyone's together, even things that just like don't really make sense to me, and like everyone has to have a significant other or someone they're like, I don't know, it feels like, oh, everybody's paired off and now we're going on this adventure that like I guess fits with the story, but doesn't. Again, I've only read 11 pages, so who am I? But yeah, apparently the first time I tried to read it, I wasn't into it. This time I couldn't get into it. I probably will read it eventually. I didn't like DNF it, like I'm never gonna get to it, but I just could not this month. It was not the mood I was in, and I really thought I was. I would love to read a fantasy book soon, but I just couldn't get into it for the moment. So I'm still reading the next one. Another one that was on the TBR was Fuel the Fire in the Addicted Calloway Sisters series. I'm still reading that. I'm reading it so slowly, and I think it's because I don't want the series to end, because it's this one more, and then like the final epilogue book of everybody. Yeah, it's really good so far, just like every Addicted book is, and the whole series for me even not having finished it yet, it's already like a 6-star series. I'm just reading that very slowly, and it's on Kindle Unlimited. All of them are if you want to read them. Last but not least, I'm listening to another audiobook. I think the key to audiobooks for me is listening to memoirs or like nonfiction. This is another memoir type book. It's called A Mission for Meaning by Gabe Conti. And it's like, it's kind of a memoir, but also like, he's a Christian, and so it's a lot about faith, but it's also just like his advice and like, I don't know, the story of his life. It's a like an all-encompassing kind of thing. But that's another one. I'm just not good at listening to audiobooks. I am liking this one so far, but I'm never really doing anything where I can just throw on an audiobook and just mindlessly, like, there's nothing I really do where I can't think. I want to get back into crocheting. There was a while where I was crocheting. I'm not very good, but I guess I could do that and finish this. But like in the car, I like to listen to music. At the gym, I like to listen to music. And so it's hard for me to find a time to listen to audiobooks. You guys don't care, whatever. That being said, I'm listening to it. It's only, I think it was only 4 hours long. I think I only have 3 hours left, but it's good so far, and I will be getting to that. But that is my wrap up for the month. That's all the books I read, and the books I'm currently reading, and the books I stopped reading. This was a very good reading month for me, a month full of my favorite authors dropping books, so that's always fun, and very on theme books, like very springy and flowery, super fun and summery. This is set in LA, and the thing about Rebecca Searles, her settings always like feel like another character. So yeah, just very good books. I highly recommend all of these. I'm gonna do another TBR video for May. I don't know if it's gonna be my board game TBR or what I'm gonna do for it exactly, but that should be up in a little bit. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you enjoyed. You can watch my other videos, comment down below, follow me on my Bookstagram, follow me on Goodreads. Yeah, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you later. Bye!